All right, so today we're going deep on education, that thing that shapes us all. But we're going way back, like ancient Greece, back to Plato and his laws.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because in laws, well, Plato thought education made a good society, BUT.
Yeah.
He had some pretty strong ideas about how.
Yeah.
Like controlling art and music. It's a little bit, how do I put this? Kind of Orwellian kindergarten vibes.
Yeah. Well, with laws, it's different than the Republic, you see. In the Republic, it's about training those philosopher-king guys, right? But laws, it's about the practicality of educating everyone, the whole population, to make a stable society,
Stable, huh? So does that mean no individuality for the greater good? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he kind of thought that. He really believed music, poetry, all that directly messed with your emotions and values.
Really?
Yeah. Like imagine a parent, super strict, only classical music allowed. That's kind of the vibe.
So no rock music then? Forget electric guitars, just lute concertos 24/7.
Pretty much. I mean, it seems extreme, right?
Yeah.
But you got to see, he really wanted harmony, social harmony. So it's about that trade-off. Freedom versus order. Tricky stuff.
So how do you plan on doing that? Do he want, official censors or something? Like art police going around?
Oh, he totally did. In laws, there are these censors, like a panel of, grumpy philosophers maybe, reviewing every song, every poem.
Wow.
Yeah. He thought bad art equals bad behavior. Simple as that.
So was he just a control freak, or was there, a deeper idea there? What do you think?
Well.
So these censors, right, what were they supposed to, do? Read every book? Watch every play before anyone else.
Yeah, so he describes them in laws, these censors. They're wise, experienced, they get virtue, beauty,
Right.
So they basically had the power to, say yes or no to any art based on, how it might affect people.
But wouldn't that be, a huge job? And, who decides what's good art anyway? Everyone's got different opinions, right?
That's the thing, isn't it? Even Plato knew it wasn't simple.
Yeah.
He said these censors, they had to really know people and, how art works, different kinds of art.
So not just, I like this, I don't like that. It was deeper.
Oh, yeah. Way deeper. Remember, for him, this wasn't about, stopping creativity or anything. It was, using art to make society better. More virtuous.
Okay, I'm kind of getting it.
Yeah.
But what about the artists, right, whose art got the thumbs down? What happened to them?
Well, he doesn't really say about punishments or anything, but he talks about education, persuasion, guiding artists to make stuff that's good, not bad.
So not punishing, more like steering them in the right direction.
Exactly. He even says the artists whose work gets rejected, they get chances to learn, get better, so their art can actually help society.
Huh, interesting. So rehab for art. He wasn't just trying to shut people down, but still, all that power for a few people, even if they're good, seems kind of risky.
It does, yeah. Makes you think, who gets to choose what's good for everyone? And where's the line, between censorship and just guidance? We still struggle with this today,
It really shows how art's not just entertainment, huh? It shapes how we see things, how we act.
Big stuff.
Exactly. And that's why Plato took it so seriously. Art was powerful. Got to use it right for the good of everyone.
So maybe instead of censorship, it's more like artistic curation for the whole society.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it makes you think, who's doing that now? The government, social media, or is it all of us choosing what we see, what we make?
That's a good question. And now it's there's so much stuff out there, information, art. We're all kind of curators now, in a way.
Totally. More access than ever, right? But that means more responsibility, too, to think about what we're watching, sharing, all that.
So it's Plato's worries about bad art, they're even bigger now with the internet and everything.
Oh, absolutely. Now it's about truth, lies, misinformation. It's a whole new level of choosing carefully. This makes me wonder, Plato talked about music, poetry, but what about video games, social media? He couldn't have imagined those, right?
That's a great question. And I don't think there's an easy answer. But the point is, his worries about art, how it affects us, those are still totally relevant, even if art's changed a lot.
So even if his answers might be old school, the questions are still important. It's amazing how much we can learn from these old thinkers, even now.
I know, right? Sometimes the oldest ideas, they make us think the hardest about today's problems.
Okay, so we talked about bad art, censors, how it connects to today, but there's the other side, right? Education.
Oh, yeah, good point. For Plato, censorship wasn't the whole thing. Education, that was even more important.
No.
For making good citizens, I mean.
So it wasn't just about controlling what people saw, heard. It was about, like, shaping their minds
Wow.
through education.
Exactly. Laws lays out this whole system for education. Not just for knowledge, but for, like, virtue. Understanding what's good in life.
Okay, tell me more about this system. What was it like?
Okay, so get this. Plato thought education starts super early. Like,
Yeah.
before kids can even read.
Whoa, really? What did they do then? Like baby philosophy class?
Not quite. He thought it should be play, music, stories, but all designed to teach values. Courage, self-control, justice, all that.
So, not facts, but like good habits,
Yeah.
building character.
Exactly. His idea was teach those virtues young and they'll grow up good. Makes sense, right?
It does. But what about like school stuff? Math, science? Did he care about those?
Well, he did. But not just for, like, practical stuff. Math, astronomy, those were good for training your mind, you know. Logic, abstract thinking.
So not just formulas, but how to think.
Yeah. And he thought education shouldn't stop, like, ever. Lifelong learning, you know.
We hear that a lot these days.
I know, right? It's wild how much his ideas still fit with modern stuff.
So we went from censorship to this whole education thing. It's like, get education right. Maybe you don't need so much control.
That's a great point. It's the core of his thinking, you see. A good society, for him, it's where people choose wisely because they're educated, not just because they have to follow rules.
It's kind of inspiring, right? Making a better world through education and thinking carefully about art, culture.
Totally. We might not agree with everything Plato says, but you gotta admire that. Wanting a society that values wisdom, good choices, the good life.
You know, it's kind of crazy how Plato's stuff about art and education still matters today.
Right.
We're always arguing about what kids should see, what's okay online, how to teach them to think for themselves.
Yeah.
It never goes away.
It's like built in, these questions. They're part of, like, what makes a society.
And thinking about it now, with all the internet stuff, info overload, it's even more complicated, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Plato never saw Twitter coming, but his worries about art and information, how they can mess you up, those are super relevant now.
So what do we do about it? We can't have, like, philosopher police watching everything online.
Haha. No. But his ideas can help, you know, to think about things differently.
I mean,
Like, instead of Plato's solutions, we need our own, but using his insights, you know.
what would that be like? What kind of education helps with all this digital stuff?
Well, we got to get good at figuring stuff out ourselves and teach kids to do it too, like how to know what's true, what's fake, all that.
So, like, build our own sensors, but in our heads, not to limit us, but to choose better.
Exactly. It's about understanding how media works, you know, how it tries to convince you. Then you can question what you see, what you hear.
And it's not just about avoiding bad stuff, right?
No.
It's also about, like, enjoying good stuff better, seeing the quality, different viewpoints, having real conversations about things that matter.
Absolutely. Going from just watching to actually, like, shaping what culture is.
That brings us back to responsibility, doesn't it? Like, we might not have Plato's censors, but each of us, we choose what we see, what we share.
Yeah. We're all curators now, in a way. It's being aware of what we're taking in, the choices we make, how they affect others.
And talking to each other, right?
Yeah.
Even when we disagree. That's how a society works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Listening, understanding, finding some common ground.
That's it. And honestly, that's Plato's best lesson, I think. It's not about getting the right answer. It's about asking the right questions. Thinking hard, talking it out, and making a world where art, education, all that helps us live better lives.
Well, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about today. Ancient Greece, the internet age, it all connects.
For sure. And hopefully this deep dive got some wheels turning, made people think about the choices we make for ourselves, for everyone.
Thanks for joining us today on this journey through Plato's laws. Keep diving deep into those big questions, and we'll see you next time.